Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia 278 Disaster Walker Now. This was supposed to have been released yesterday. I think some point during the review I must have brushed the wire at the back of the mic. The wire came out, and about 5 minutes into the review stopped recording audio-wise. So I'm going to re-record it. Hopefully it'll be just as good. But let's get right down into it. Horikoshi has been spitting straight fire for a long time now. This chapter was pretty much no different. Absolutely badass chapter. So what did we actually learn? Let's go into the first scene, Class 1A kids. So in this first kind of mini scene, we see the kids of Class 1A reacting to something huge making its way towards them. Mineta kind of confirms in a worried tone to the rest of them that the army of heroes who went to Jaku Hospital must have failed, which they kind of did with the reanimation, essentially, of Shigaraki. And this kind of scene reminded me of the scene in Attack on Titan where the female Titan, no spoilers for anybody out there, but the female Titan makes her way in from the right flank, and she's crushing through everybody towards Eren and them lot. That's the same vibe I was getting. Something huge coming towards them. They have only a vague idea of where it is, how fast it's approaching, and they're shitting themselves. So then the second kind of scene, which I called Makia very creatively, is we see Makia continuing his run towards Shigaraki, elated by the return of his master. Mount Lady unfortunately puts up some resistance, but very little resistance in reality. But props once again for her efforts, for trying at least. I mean, Makia is a monster. Look at the guy. Absolutely huge. He's a culmination and an aggregation of a whole variety of different quirks. He's an absolute beast. So the fact that Mount Lady was even putting up some resistance, props to her. The surrounding heroes attempt to help out a little, doing what they can to back up Mount Lady to no real effect. And then they all get clapped. Well, a few of them get clapped at the very least by Apocrypha, who pops up out of nowhere and damages these few heroes trying to help out Mount Lady. The cool thing here is we see Apocrypha getting kind of wrapped up and lifted into the air by Cementos. I was like, oh my god, this is a fight I didn't know I needed, but now I really want. So not gonna lie, this is a fight I really want to see now that I've seen the beginnings of it, the initiation of it. They're both kind of like elementals, with Cementos being kind of like an earth elemental, whereas Apocrypha is very obviously the ice elemental, and it would be awesome to see them go toe to toe, especially because Cementos looked ready to clap some ass and kick some ass. So I'm ready for that. I'm all in for it. Let's go. So if we got more of this fight, it would make me happy from a story perspective as well. Seeing as Apocrypha roaming free, or I think what's his name? Is it it begins with a G? I forgot what it is, but Apocrypha is the name for now. But if Apocrypha is roaming free, that's a major problem for the hero. So I feel like Cementos is in a very, very important duel right now. And the same could be said of Cementos, really. If he's roaming free and the villains are aware of that, he's an important and a large kind of threat on the hero side because of what he can do. So an important engagement for both sides here. Speak of engagement on both sides, we have Edgeshot versus Redestro. Once again, another fight I didn't think I needed to see, but now that I've seen the beginnings of it, the initiation of it, I really, really want to see exactly what goes down and what they can do to each other. And I want to see every blow of this fight, really. Edgeshot and Redestro are going at it. As Redestro very quickly comes to the realization that Shigaraki has kind of woken up prematurely. Edgeshot seems to be able to damage Redestro, but Redestro doesn't really seem to care too much. I'm not sure if this is, that kind of stress-darkened skin, that kind of dark Reiatsu that's surrounding him. I'm not sure if it's, if Redestro is able to nullify some of Edgeshot's penetrating capacity with that stress skin. And if Redestro actually goes into like full power stress mode, he's a huge asset to the league and to Shigaraki. So Edgeshot really has a handful of an opponent to deal with right now. Having said that though, Fat Gum is right next to Edgeshot and a few other heroes are in the vicinity, so it could be quite an entertaining battle there. However, having said that, Redestro's quirk is so interesting, so powerful, so crazy. The whole idea of this monstrosity of a quirk where it's the more stressed you get, the more your power, the more your strength amplifies. It's absolutely insane. So even with Edgeshot and Fat Gum there, Redestro could pull off a win with what he has right in front of him, which could be dangerous for the rest of the heroes, seeing as Redestro really wants to go check up on his Lord and Savior who's Shigaraki. But also I think Redestro is at the rear of the attack that Gigantomachia has basically fronted. So if he popped in from the rear, that would be a huge issue for any of the heroes who are attacking Machia, who could essentially get hit in the blind side. The next scene, Midnight and Kamui Woods. We see Mount Lady get tossed aside by Machia. Kamui Woods is screaming, like, I forgot what he says, Takayama or something like that, I think is her name. But because of her being flung aside, this leaves the approaching Midnight and Kamui Woods as the only two people to really try to slow down Machia. Unknown to them is the fact that the League of Villains are actually chilling on top of Machia, which leads to Kamui Woods getting roasted by Dabi. And, you know, if you've ever played Pokemon, you know for sure that this was not a good attack for Kamui Woods to take. Only for Midnight to actually leap away from him to try to sedate Machia. A badass move, but once again, not much foresight on the part of the heroes here. They had no idea that the League of Villains would be anywhere near Machia. And we see, once again, that the League of Villains has actually grown a little bit here, with Mr. Compress having learned to never underestimate heroes. He throws some compressed debris at Midnight, causing her to drop to the ground in a heap. And my God, does she fall to the ground in a bloody heap. It was quite a fall that she took. Now, while bleeding from every orifice her face basically has, Midnight contacts Yaoyorozu, telling her to create a sedative to knock out Machia. Now, before we move on to the even more crazy shit that Midnight and Mount Lady do, the MVPs this chapter really were Mount Lady and Midnight, who both put their bodies on the line, even when hurt, continued to fight for the sake of a brighter future. I thought this was pretty cool. Now, some lackeys approach Midnight, one of which is masked. While this is going on, Midnight still continues to give Yaoyorozu her speech and her next orders, saying you need to take leadership here, and you need to trust in your own judgment, and I trust in your judgment. So I thought that was pretty cool. The fun part is that Midnight says that this sedative that she orders the Yaoyorozu to create is essentially illegal. So it could be a whole bunch of different things. It could be something alluding to chemical warfare. If it's Yaoyorozu chemical warfare incoming, that would be pretty cool. I'm not sure if that would be, if it was a nerve agent or some sort of biological weapon. Would some readers take offense to that? Would that be too far on Horikoshi's part? I mean, the fact that Dr. Ujiko a few chapters ago was named after a war villain, or named after a specific event that happened in, I think it was World War II. Horikoshi does realize already that there are some very sensitive issues and sensitive parts around the Great War, World War II, and even wars since then that really can't be alluded to. So I'm wondering what he chooses to do here with Yaoyorozu's abilities. I really hope we get to see Yaoyorozu pull off some insane shit. Midnight then has to deal with the lackeys approaching her, cutting off comms with Momo. Now, one of those lackeys actually has a mask and maybe even breathing apparatus. We see this tube coming out of his mask. I really, really hope that Midnight doesn't get killed, like actually killed off screen, as some sort of shock factor death. That would be really disappointing, and I want to see Midnight do more. We've seen only very little of her so far, especially because I only read My Hero and I haven't read Vigilantes, which I think goes into a bit more around Midnight, Aizawa, maybe even President Mike and their old boy Kurogiri. But I really want to see more from Midnight, so I'm hoping she doesn't die off screen. Under this immense pressure, we then see Momo rise to the occasion. I really like this part, commanding Jiro and Shoji to be her eyes and ears as Machia approaches, and telling Juzo from Class 1B to get ready to soften the ground when Machia rolls up. So I thought this was a really good plan to come up with, in the face of, like, she only had a few seconds really to come up with it. And this is where we actually see the strength and the balls of both Kamui Woods and Mount Lady, who are holding on to Machia's leg for dear life, trying to slow him down, even if it's for a second. And you can see the pain in Mount Lady's eyes, which is something that and her face actually, as her eyes start to well up with some tears and blood rolls down her face. She's been quite severely injured by what Machia just picked her up by the leg and threw her like, get out of my way. And apparently it was a really, really deadly throw. The kids prepare themselves as Yaoyorozu rallies them to stand tall against their enemy, with the chapter ending at that. So, like I said, there's a whole bunch of different things that are going on here. We've got the Edge Shot fight against Redestro. We got the Cementos fight against Apocrypha. We've got Machia versus the kids of 1A and 1B. This is going to be insane. And do we really think they're going to be able to slow down Machia, especially because the League of Villains are on his back, or is on his back? I don't think it's going to work out, but I'm all for trying. So it's going to be insane moving forward. It's going to be very, very entertaining. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a bit.